welcome to another World of Warships video with me, Bubblebox, and today we're moving on to have a look at the Kawachi, the first of the Japanese battleships, a dreadnought battleship developed around or used around the era of First World War and just after the First World War. So we'll have a look at the stats first, then we'll get into some gameplay. First of all, it is the first of the battleships. It's a tier 3, and at this tier none of the Americans have got battleships yet, so the best of the USA in the beta version of the game is going to be a cruiser. So although of course you will come up against US battleships tier 4 and even tier 5 in some of the games that you get into, and when that happens you are massively outgunned. Although if you just come up against tier 2, 3 cruisers, then you're onto a good thing. So it depends on which kind of battle you get into as to how well you do with this particular weapon. So here she is, the Kawachi tier 3 battleship, first of the battleships we're having a look at in this series. As far as survivability is concerned, we're on 44. Very good armor compared to the cruisers that we've had previously, so this thing can take a bit of a hit from kind of the tiers that we're going to be fighting against, with up to 305mm armor on some parts of the ship. I'm assuming that's kind of around the central part of the ship at the sides. I'm sure you ship buffs will be able to let me know if that's the case or not, where exactly the thickest parts of the armour. I assume like the gun turrets have got thick armour and stuff like that, and the vulnerable parts of the ship, the magazines, where the magazines are kept and stuff like that, are the thickest parts of armour. But again, let me know in the comments if you know. So pretty decent survivability for a tier 3 ship of 44. As far as your main armaments are concerned, you've got your 6 main batteries. So these are twin turreted 305mm guns, so quite powerful, with 50 points. So you've got 2 here on the starboard side and 1 at the back there, and on flip round to the other side, and on the port side we've got another couple of, oh that's the same one, got another couple of double barreled turrets on that side and back to the bow of the ship there. As well as the main battery, we've got a couple of sets of secondary armaments, which is quite a lot, and I'm getting into the secondary armament just lately because I didn't really know too much about the secondary armament, what it does, but after watching a few videos you can use like the secondary armament to target battleships, destroyers that get too close to you, and when you're getting up and close and with other warships, the secondary armament certainly comes into play. It's controlled by the AI, but you can control it to a certain degree by pressing control and clicking on the ship that you want your secondary armament to target, and it will stay targeted on that ship then. But as far as the secondary armament is concerned, we've got 8 one-turreted, or I guess you could call it one-turreted, 120mm guns. We've got 1 there, we've got 1 up on the near the bridge there, 1 there just at the back of the bridge, and 1 on the back of the ship there, on the other side, and pretty much the same down this side as well. Your 120mm guns nicely positioned there, and then we've got some other secondary armament, 10 this time, 10 152mm guns, so a little bit more powerful. Again, scattered around the sides, especially the sides. You've got 3 along each side, 3 along the port, 3 along the starboard side of the ship, and then 1 at the back there, 1 at the back on the other side, and then your other 3 on the other side of the ship. So it's kind of, for a tier 3 tip, it's fairly bristling with secondary armament for up close fighting if you get into that situation. Now as far as anti-air, it's the first ship really, I guess, a tier 3 where you might come up against a tier 4 planes from the aircraft carriers of the USA's sort of tier 4, and even sometimes tier 5 aircraft carriers. So AA is important for these tier 3 battleships, and it's not too bad on this. It's got a decent-ish range, I guess, for a tier 3 of 2.3 kilometers, does a decent amount of damage per second, and you've got 4 76.2mm guns. 1 there, and they're kind of proper AA guns this time, not just Gatling guns, and just 2 on the other side, 1 there, and just 1 on the just down the ship a bit, just there. Now as far as maneuverability, now the battleships are not going to be as maneuverable, of course, as the cruisers. The speed isn't too bad, I guess. I mean, it's, to be honest, it's not the fastest thing in the world, and when you're turning as well, the speed drops right down. So you've got to really use this thing using its range, which is a problem again if it comes up against tier 4 5 battleships. It is outranged by them, but as far as cruisers are concerned, just keep out of their range, you can keep in your range, and you'll be doing pretty good. We didn't look at the range, did we, of the artillery? We'll have a quick look at that. So the main battery's range is 40. Where is it? Where's range? Is 9.8 kilometers. So you need to keep that in mind, really. The turning degree time is 40 seconds, which is quite long. So it takes 40 seconds to turn from one side to the other. So it takes quite a long time if you're turning the ship for the guns to get back onto their target again. But they're quite powerful guns and will do a lot of damage if you get a lucky hit on the opponent's ship. Where were we? Maneuverability, yeah, rudder shift time. Rudder shift time really is the time it takes for the rudder to kind of shift from one side to the other. So it's fairly long again at 14 seconds. So yeah, so you've got to be careful with the ship. Although, as I say, it has got quite a decent armour for a tier 3 ship, so it can take a couple of hits. It can take 2 or 3 good torpedoes in the side before it will go down. Concealment wise, well, it's a battleship, isn't it? It is a tier 3 battleship, but it can be seen from 9.5 kilometres away and seen very, very easily by the aircraft as well. So you're not going to be hiding this thing anytime soon unless you're behind an island or something. So that is the Kawachi. It's fully teched up, of course, as always when I'm showing you these ships. I've played them a few times already, got them teched up. And we've got a couple of bays down here. We've gone for the main battery modification 1, which decreases the chance of critical damage to our main batteries, which is what we're going to be using mostly in the battleships. We don't want them damaged, really. And then I always think the engine's really, really important. We need to keep moving, even if we end up getting our rudder shot out. If we can still move in a straight line, we're still going to be a little bit harder to hit than if we're kind of stuck not moving at all. So I always tend to go for that over and above the other types of propulsion kind of upgrades that are available. So that's it. There she is, the Kawachi, and we're going to get into a battle. So the first thing to notice is that we are slightly outnumbered here. We've got 7 ships to their 9. They've got 2 aircraft carriers, which is going to be a real pain, both tier 4 Langleys. We've got 1 aircraft carrier, a couple of 3, well, 1 battleship, or 2 battleships, 1 cruiser. Is that, or 2 cruisers and a destroyer, and I think they've got 3 destroyers, I think they've got, and a load of cruisers and battleships, and of course those 2 aircraft carriers. And that's going to be a real pain because that means they're going to have probably 4 torpedo bombers, and we're probably going to have, well, I don't know what, a couple of torpedo bombers and 1 fighter. They'll have 2 sets of fighters, so they're going to be a real problem. Now, one good thing is at the start of this game, we kind of made a pact at the start, as you can probably see from the messages, to stay as a group, and this really, really helped us out during this particular game. So this guy said, you know, stick together. He's going to go ahead in his cruiser to try to fend off their aircraft, keep the battleships like well out of the way of the cruisers. Now, normally in World of Warship games, that doesn't tend to happen. Players tend to cluster in a position quite often, but they don't tend to coordinate very well as to where they position their ships. They tend to do their own thing a little bit. So it was really, I put this battle up because it did show a little bit of teamwork in World of Warships, which you don't get, or I haven't got too often in particular games. And you can see there's a bit of communication in the chat there. So we're all decided to head over towards A, and we need to, it's just a game where you capture the sectors, so we're heading over towards A, and you can see the cruisers are going ahead of me and kind of trying to scout out, and I believe, yeah, we haven't even in fact got a destroyer to spot for us, which makes things even worse, and we're going to have torpedo bombers attacking us all the time. So the idea here, I guess, was to try to protect our 2 battleships so that we could do as much damage as possible, get the cruisers in front, and even our aircraft carrier has decided to come with us rather than hide in a corner somewhere. Again, something you don't see very often is the aircraft carrier coming along with the fleet, which would happen in reality, of course. They tend to hide at the back of the maps a lot in this game, which isn't too realistic, whereas in this game, in this particular game we're playing here. So we spot our first cruiser cruising along over and capturing B. There's just some shots from one of my teammates just hoping for a hit, so I just keep cruising over, towards A. We're going to try and capture, well, we're not communicating by TeamSpeak or anything, but we're communicating a little bit. So the idea, of course, is to go over, try and get A. We've got a couple of torpedo bombers out from our aircraft carrier, but you can see they've got a couple of torpedo bombers and a couple, I don't know if they're spotter planes or I think they're spotter planes. No, they're fighters. They've got a couple of fighters out already engaging our fighter. One of their fighters has taken a bit of a hit. There's another cruiser over there. They've taken point C already and point B through that with that cruiser, but we are starting to engage, albeit very. Well, it's got some, albeit quite long distance. Although that's their aircraft, and that is the aircraft there. Those two aircraft, those two torpedoes, have just dropped the torpedoes. They're heading towards that cruiser, but the cruiser luckily is facing and it just dodges. And I'm going to have to. I'm trying to turn as quickly as I can, but you see how long it takes to turn this battleship, and I'm going to get hit by one, but that's not too bad. And you can see the other cruiser dodging the other set of torpedoes, which were dropped by their second set of torpedo bombers. So a moderate amount of damage, still a fair bit, 5,000, but I can you know, suck that up. I can cope with that, and I just need to get back on course and get moving over towards A with our group to support our group. And you can see our cruisers are nicely spread out to try and protect me a little bit, and our other battleship from the aircraft, with our aircraft carrier as well in a fairly decent position. So we haven't lost a ship yet, but there's still, you can see the aircraft icons, there's still lots of torpedo bombers flying around, and you can see one of our cruisers is come under fairly heavy fire from, I think, 2 of their cruisers, possibly 3 over there. So I need to get over there as fast as possible. This is just out of range. I might just fire a spotting shot. Just hits the rock though, so I need to get over there to help this cruiser out. If we can get some battleship power hitting those 2 cruisers, we could do quite well there. So there's another cruiser just going in front of me there, and you can see the torpedo bombers ominously in the distance hunting down our ships, and our aircraft carrier still coming up behind. So hopefully as soon as I get past this island, I'll be able to start engaging and helping out our cruisers with this cruiser here as they start to capture A as well. So it looks like that torpedo bomber's just dropped torpedoes really close to our ship, and I'm just going to get some shots off. Hopefully we'll get, that's a kind of a spotting round a little bit in front, so this one should hit. Nice salvo off that time, and get a little bit of a hit. Took out one of his one of his sets of guns there, one of his turrets. There's another set of torpedoes that have been unleashed by their aircraft. So again, I'm just having to turn. I'm going to get hit by one, but I should be able to soak that damage up. Yeah, not too bad. Moderate amount of damage again, but I need to get my guns now trained on these 2 cruisers over here and start doing some damage myself. So I'll just take a few shots. This cruiser, a couple of salvos there, and a nice hit. Take out one of their gun turrets again. And again, 2 more gun turrets taken out, so he's in a bit of trouble. Unfortunately for me, he's going to escape and go behind that island before I manage to get any more shots off at him. But so I'll just change target and just make sure I'm not going to bash into anything. I need to turn. I'm going to have to turn away before I bash into that island, which means unfortunately it means my guns are going to come off target, but I should be able to get some shots off on this cruiser here. I'm not even sure if it's still or not. And there's another cruiser over there as well. Might have a go at that one instead. Yep, it's going backwards, so much easier target to hit. And in fact, it's been taken out already. So back to this guy. In fact, I'm just out of range now because I've had to swing round, and I'm now going in the other direction. Just about to pass our aircraft carrier. I've got a bit of cover on the other side from another cruiser over on our left side. We have got a bit of a deficit to make up now. And we've got a couple of our own torpedo bombers in the air attacking their ships as well. I should be able to take some shots at this guy who's just put out his fire. So almost a full salvo. And it's a few nice hits, and again take out one of his turrets. So I'll keep steaming forward, hopefully get back and engage this guy. He's also being engaged by the cruiser on my left. and the cruisers on my right. So we're steaming into this. Yeah, we should hopefully be able to take at least be moving on and trying to take B soon. So it's kind of just about in range. I hope these reach. One of them hits, takes out his turrets. I'm being quite lucky in taking out the enemy's turrets here, and a full salvo, almost a full salvo off there, a little bit in front, but again whacked his primary and secondary armaments, and that ship has now gone down. I didn't get the kill, but I did it a fair amount of damage to get an assist there, as the torpedo bombers are back in the air again from the enemy, although again I am protected to a certain degree by my cruisers. And I'll take some pot shots at this next cruiser coming into range here. Another full salvo off, that should be decent. Oh, can't believe they all missed. That was spot on target, but the dispersion was just too wide there for him to hit anything. Looks like that cruiser's managed to dodge all of those torpedoes. That plane just dropped another bunch of torpedoes though. These aircraft are being a real pain, and I think I'm going to get hit just by one. I just did turn as soon as I saw that thing drop, but I'm going to run into one, and hopefully that other torpedo bomber didn't drop from another direction. I don't think it did. So back to the guns. Another couple of salvos. You can see another set of torpedoes. I'm just going to turn away from them, although I think I'll be out of range anyway. So we're just kind of encroaching on Area B now. We have actually, believe it or not, managed to sink 4 of their ships. Our team has, not me personally, but our team has, and we've only lost 1 so far, as those torpedoes were just out of range of my battleship there. So I'll just bear to the left a bit and start to head over to Area B, being fairly cautious. There is that cruiser in B for our team already, so that's going to spot any aircraft coming over, and another of their cruisers has been destroyed. So now all they've got left is 1 cruiser and their 2 aircraft carrier, which are still full of aircraft, so they can still do us a lot of damage. But we do need to steam over to B and start getting some points, because they are way in the lead. So we've spotted another of their... Oh, in fact, they've got a destroyer left, not a cruiser. So they've just got 1 destroyer, and it's in B. So we know where it is, and we know that their other 2 aircraft carriers are probably over around Area C somewhere. So probably, that is, not definitely. So we should be okay. Our aircraft carrier's in good shape still, and well out of any danger. And we've still got 3 ships left that can steam over towards B and C. I'll just use my repair facility there just to buff up my health a little bit. Their destroyer's smoked. So this is a decent-ish, I guess, first time battleship of the Japanese Tier 3, the first battleship you're able to get in the game if you want to go for Japanese. And it's okay, as I said in the introduction, as long as you're up against kind of Tier 2 and Tier 3 battleships and cruisers. But as soon as you go up against Tier 4, Tier 5... Oh, I got a lovely hit there. Took out a couple of its batteries. Really did it some damage. Then, then you kind of get outranged and outgunned by them, and it's really, really difficult. But we did so well, I think, in this game so far, because we worked really well as a team at the start. And it shows in this game, if you can use a bit of forward planning, you can do quite well. But you've got to be kind of, strategize a little bit and use some tactics to do well in this game, I think. So I'll take some shots. It's probably going to get behind that island before I get... Yeah, I don't know. Well, just missed. So hopefully I can steam up behind this small island, and if he doesn't turn away, I can get some more shots off on this guy. Although we've got a torpedo bomber heading straight for him by the looks of it. As we steam over, we're now capturing B. I think, am I in the middle? Yeah, I'm in the middle of B at the moment. And we've got another battleship getting into B as well. And the torpedo plane is hassling that destroyer. There it comes. Here it comes. I'm just going to let a salvo off. Oh, just let my salvo off, and he turned at the same moment. So none of them are going to hit, clearly. But I can't. He's probably going to let off some torpedoes now. He's well within range at 5.3 Ks. At tier 3, and I bet he's let his torpedoes off already. Although he does die now. There's some more torpedoes going to hit him anyway from the torpedo plane. And there's his torpedoes. They're not actually even coming for me. They're going for the other the other battleship that was closer to him. So I'll just let them off anyway for a bit of target practice. So now they've only got two of their Langley aircraft carriers left, which can still be a danger. But basically we need to get to sea as fast as possible. They're still getting 3 points a turn because they hold sea, but you can see the massive lead they've got at the moment, and we're getting 6 points kind of, I say per turn, per amount of time, but we're way behind. So either we've got to sink ships, kill aircraft, or take their base really quickly. Otherwise we're going to lose. So I'm steaming over towards sea as fast as I can, and we've got another battleship on the other side steaming over as fast as he can as well. Although, as I said in the introduction, these battleships, these tier 3 Japanese battleships, aren't the fastest things in the world. I can't remember how fast they went. It was 20 knots or something, but they're not that fast, and it's going to take me a little while to get over to sea. So hopefully we might be able to shoot down a couple of aircraft. I don't know if shooting down aircraft actually gets you points or takes points from the enemy's score. I know sort of taking ships out does. I'm not quite sure about the aircraft though, to be honest. But we've got to get over there soon because you can see that red bar creeping up. We're not getting attacked by any of the aircraft anymore. It looks like the aircraft that are left are kind of on the other side. You'd think they'd be attacking me and the other guy because we're trying to get towards sea, and they would probably want us to not capture it, or prevent us as long as possible from capturing it. Oh, and that's why I've just spotted their aircraft carrier. It's right over the other side near B. It might even be grounded over there. You can see it. So that's one of their aircraft carriers. So that's why their planes were flying over there trying to protect their own aircraft carrier. So our aircraft carrier is kind of engaging their aircraft carrier over that side. So my teammate on my left is just about to get into sea, and we're just going to start to capture sea now. If we can get sea in our hands before that red bar goes fully red, then we stop the leeching of points, and they will not get any more points unless they destroy one of our ships, which doesn't look likely for them at the moment. And then we can just get our points up, or we can go hunting and get one of their aircraft carriers. So soon we should have control of the sea. And as I said, this was a really kind of satisfying game to play. This one, it wasn't the best game in the world perhaps to watch, but it's a satisfying game because it's the first game I've played where everybody worked for the team rather than just sort of sailing around doing their own thing, really. So sea is now ours. So they can't get any more points unless they sink a ship, which they're trying to do. It looks like they are attacking our aircraft carrier at the moment with their torpedo bombers. It's aircraft carrier on aircraft carrier down the south of the mini-map there. You can just about see it. It was just turned around. Now it's to west. But as long as our aircraft carrier can hold out, it looks like some more torpedoes going towards it, but we've got some aircraft anti-air out attacking their torpedo bombers as well, so hopefully it'll be okay and be able to stay alive. But even if they sink one of our ships, they're still not going to, don't think, get enough points to win. And we go over the 1,000 points, and there it is, a victory. So a really satisfying game there. Really enjoyed that one for the teamwork aspect. When I look at the team score, I didn't do amazingly well score wise. I think I took a fair few points, like helped capture some zones. You can see that the aircraft carrier, as they always do if they get some torpedo hits, get a lot of points. The St. Louis got lots of points as well. That's the American cruise, tier 3 cruiser I think it is. So a good game. I had some good teammates, I must admit. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this vid. Please do give us a like and comment and subscribe if you fancy it, and I'll see you in the next one.